Do you know the story of the 17-year-old kid who turned a small catalog furniture store into a global empire? Buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive into the wacky world of IKEA and uncover the psychological hack that has turned this Swedish giant into a $53 billion behemoth. Picture this. It's 1943 in a tiny Swedish town, and young Ingvar Kamprad has just opened his first IKEA store. But fast forward to 2024, and IKEA is raking in over $53 billion in revenue, with more than 860 million store visits and 3.8 billion website visits worldwide. It's like the entire planet has caught the IKEA fever. But what's the secret behind this flat pack furniture phenomenon? Is it the mouth-watering Swedish meatballs? The mind-bogglingly low prices? Or do people just have a masochistic love for spending their weekends wandering through a labyrinth of particle board and Allen wrenches? The answer, my friends, lies in a little something called the IKEA effect, a psychological hack that allows IKEA to work less, charge more, and have us all begging for more. It's like a Jedi mind trick, but with a side of lingonberry jam. Let's rewind to the humble beginnings of IKEA. In the small town of Småland, where the population barely hit 5 figures, Kamprad faced a dilemma. Furniture was expensive to make, and most locals couldn't afford to splurge on a fancy new couch. Kamprad had 2 options: move to a bigger city and keep selling pricey furniture, or slash his prices and peddle low-quality junk. But our enterprising young Swede had a light bulb moment. In his journal, he scribbled, "Why are beautiful products only made for a few buyers? It must be possible to offer good design and function at low prices." And thus, the Love-It table was born, a 4-piece marvel that came packed in a flat box, ready for the customer to assemble. Little did Kamprad know, but this humble table would become the fastest selling item in IKEA history and the key to the company's astronomical success. By designing furniture that could be shipped and stored in flat boxes, IKEA slashed its costs and passed the savings onto the customers. Plus, by making the buyers do the assembly themselves, IKEA eliminated the need for expensive labor. It was a genius move. And within a decade, IKEA had spread like wildfire across Europe, Australia, Asia, and North America. Today, it's the undisputed king of the furniture world, with a staggering $16 billion in annual profits. Here's the real head scratcher. Why do people go gaga over furniture that comes in a box and requires hours of blood, sweat, and tears to assemble? Isn't the whole point of business to make life easier for the customer? But that's where the IKEA effect comes in. You see, when we invest our time and efforts into something, we tend to value it more highly. It's like when you slave away in the kitchen for hours, and suddenly that slightly burnt casserole tastes like a Michelin-starred masterpiece. IKEA has tapped into this psychological quirk and turned it into a money printing machine by making us feel like we've accomplished something. Even if it's just successfully deciphering those cryptic assembly instructions, IKEA gives us a sense of pride and ownership in our furniture. We're not just buying a bookshelf, we're birthing it with our own 2 hands. And let's be real, there's a certain thrill in the IKEA experience. It's like a grown-up version of a treasure hunt, where you navigate through a maze of showrooms, dodge toddlers having meltdowns, and try not to get lost in the sea of Ektorp sofas. By the time you've survived the gauntlet and emerged victorious with your flat pack bounty, you feel like you've earned that particle board palace. But the IKEA effect isn't just about the warm, fuzzy feelings we get from assembling our own furniture. It's a powerful psychological tool that businesses can harness to create more value for their customers and themselves. By involving your clients in the process, whether it's customizing a product or participating in a service, you give them a sense of ownership and investment in the outcome. So, the next time you're cursing at an indecipherable IKEA manual, just remember, you're not just building a wonky wardrobe. You're participating in a global phenomenon that has revolutionized the way we think about business and consumer psychology. And if all else fails, just head to the food court and drown your sorrows in a plate of Swedish meatballs. Now, dear reader, it's your turn to confess. Are you an IKEA addict, or do you prefer your furniture ready-made and assembly-free? Share your hilarious IKEA horror stories or your proudest flat pack triumph in the comments below. The moral of the story? Sometimes the key to success is not in making things easier for your customers, but in making them feel like they're part of the process. Embrace the power of the IKEA effect, and who knows, maybe one day you'll be the one selling $53 billion worth of flat pack furniture to the masses.